Namaste, everyone. Michele Granberg here. Welcome to another episode of Positive Energy, bringing enlightening television for your evolving soul. Would you agree that we live in very intense times, where there is so much injustice to both people and animals, and yet now more than ever, there are many people banding together at a grassroots level to make a difference in their communities and worldwide? On this show, we're spotlighting two organizations that are raising awareness about the plight of farm animals, promoting a vegan message, and holding activism events that stand against animal exploitation and promote animal liberation. Stay where you are, because Positive Energy starts right now. So I'm so pleased to welcome Mike from Skyland Animal Sanctuary and Rescue, and Tom from Anonymous for the Voiceless, and Michelle from the Save Movement. Thank you all for being here so much.
Thank you.
Essentially what we're talking about on our show today is empathy and compassion, and not turning away from animals who are suffering, and instead acknowledging them and instead trying to help. So all of you are doing that in unique ways, in your own ways, in specific ways, and so we want to hear about that so that people know what's happening. There is a movement. There's an absolute, right now happening, concrete, not going away, growing community, and it is a movement, and we're here to make a difference. So, Michelle, I want to start with you. So, tell us about the mission of the Save Movement.
So what we focus on is bearing witness, and what we started a group. It's been a year. It's called the Newark Animal Save Group, and we just started a small little group. It was about 4 people, and now it's grown. It's grown immensely, and it's a green, grassroots. And so we go out, we go to slaughterhouses. There's a slaughterhouse in Newark, New Jersey. It's 270 Raymond Boulevard, and we're there every other Thursday at 5:30 a.m.
Weekly?
Every other week.
Every other week.
Every other week, and we go there and we wait for the trucks. The trucks usually coming from Canada. We had a truck yesterday that came from Minnesota. The truck comes from Hamilton, New Jersey. But yeah, lately we've been getting trucks from Canada, and these trucks have been traveling for 36 hours, and these animals are thirsty, they're hungry, they're distressed. So bearing witness is super important because we feel like we need to give back. That is our goal. Yeah. Our goal is to sit there and, they've never had the sun of light. They've never seen the sun of light. And, just having a gentle touch or
a human that's treated them kindly.
Ever in their life. At their first reaction, they do get shocked. But then when you sit there and you talk to them and you sing to them, just, quiet little songs, and it's very impactful. It's very important. We have a lot of people that drive by that see this, and they're shocked. And it's very important to bring that to this, and it's a big growing, movement right now. So
and also you film it.
And we
right?
film
so
it.
people who have no clue can see what
it.
these animals are going through just by being on the truck,
Absolutely.
let alone...
Yeah, the photos are amazing.
Yes.
When I first came across them, I said, oh my goodness, people are doing this.
Yes.
What an amazing thing that people are doing. And then everybody asks themselves, I wonder if I could do that.
Yes.
And I know there's certainly courage involved in putting your own emotions aside, but it's not about us, and it's really about them. So, but you're on the front line.
Yeah.
This is really frontline work, and so, thank you for doing that
thing.
and all that entails.
And I invite you to come.
I'm coming.
I invite you to come.
Some point, I'm getting there.
Please come, and and Tom comes all the time. Mike comes and supports, and it's a beautiful thing because, it's all about compassion at the end of the day. It's all about compassion.
So more compassion than Tom from you. Tell us about Anonymous for the Voiceless. What is the mission?
So Anonymous for the Voiceless, what we do is we have these cubes of truth, and we show demonstrations with standard animal cruelty, and we have everybody is in a 4-sided cube. We hold a screen, show all the footage, and we have conversation. People who are also part of the group, they're doing outreach, and we have conversations with people about what happens to animals, what they think happens to animals, and try to lead them to a vegan conclusion, in hopes of and maybe they might not.
Changing minds and hearts.
Yeah,
is the hope.
and the goal isn't to get them to go vegan on the spot.
No.
And they might take that information and they'll process that information some other day. It doesn't always happen right away. Sometimes it does, and it's a wonderful, a most beautiful thing when people go vegan right on the spot.
You
but
see it.
some people, they bring it home. We give them these cards, and they have various informations on them. Various different resources. We can send them to Challenge 22, and they can take a 22-day vegan challenge. It's really nice.
It's big stuff. It really is big stuff for people, and it is about truth, right? We're not creating the situation, but we are just exposing.
Exactly.
So that people know, and then people can make a more conscious choice instead of keeping it hidden.
And the footage they show is not like, exceptionally brutal. It's standard practice every single day, all day, every day, and it's just that the world is not exposed to it.
Yeah, it's happening.
And that's the goal. And the coolest thing about what they do is, with the anonymous things, is when they do the cube, they don't approach anyone. They're standing there with the mask on, so there's no expression on your face. They're not judging anyone, and people come up and they look at the screen and then they engage on their own. If they're not interested, they walk by. That's pretty cool.
You watch
because
their
it doesn't
body
make people
language
feel
to
cornered.
see if they're looking, and if they have an emotion on their face, and obviously there's an opening there to kind of step in and talk. But say something about, in terms of how that looks and what it entails, the masks, because people probably wonder. And certainly you have them because it's not about the person. Again, it's about putting the message forefront and the animals in the front and letting the focus be on them. Is that the purpose of the masks?
Yes, the purpose of the masks is to take the messenger out of the message.
Yes.
So we wear the Guy Fawkes masks, and that just takes the whole messenger away from the message, and it gives a chance for people to watch the video instead of trying to interact with the people holding the screen.
It's also good for the activists too, because they feel shielded from the judgment also.
Yeah, I get that. Because the video speaks for itself. Absolutely. I mean, you really don't need to say anything. If someone sees that video is so shocking that you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And yet we don't want to stay in that place of feeling helpless. That's why we're here today talking about we're all doing something, and that's the antidote. The activism and the activeness of what we're doing is the antidote to feeling helpless as they are. They don't need more helpless energy. So, Mike, you are the founder of a rescue and a sanctuary, which is such a part of this piece as we hope to liberate animals. They're going to come to you and others like you. So tell me about the mission of Skylands.
Our mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, provide lifelong homes for animals, from anything from factory farms to neglect to, you name it, farm animals, the animals that people don't see as individuals ever. That's our goal, is to teach people who they are. Honestly, that's the biggest part of what we do. We have 232 acres. If I had 10,000 acres, I still couldn't rescue enough animals to make a dent in this. So the biggest thing we could do is educate people, and try and get them to stop seeing these animals as commodities and as individuals. So that's the biggest thing, and that's why, these things all kind of complement each other. What the Save Movement does, what the Anonymous for the Voiceless does. These people do things that I'm not good at. I can tell you straight out. I don't want to stand there and bear witness. That's not what I do. I probably have too much anger issues for that. I rescue the animals, and that's what I do. And so together,
you give them a forever home.
We do.
We need that. Have to have that. Yeah.
And together with all, and with other forms of activism, it forms a circle. Kind of rounds it out, and hopefully we teach a lot of people that way.
We are a village with the animals and together. So that is. This is a shift that is happening in people's mindset to see animals as we see them as individuals. That's the leap. We're hoping that when people make that connection, that they have personalities, and you give them names.
They all do, and our kids all have real names.
Your kids,
they all have real names, and they make the connections. We do tours on the weekends, and people come up and they listen to me tell rescue stories and all. But we make activists by allowing them to see animals up close that they just never have. They're like, that's a cow, that's a turkey. Right.
First time looking in the eyeballs. Eyeball to eyeball with a cow. First time instead of on a plate.
And in 10 minutes you can see the personality differences between them.
Yes. It's just like my dogs at home when you live, right?
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you all. Already I'm thanking you for doing the work that you do, but let's connect the dots even a little bit more in terms of veganism and how it relates to these animals and the animal rights. So Michelle, what do you say to people about that, or in general?
Well, I mean, it's everything. It's everything. So I feel like if just the simplest thing, just buying a new car, you know, when you go buy a new car and, you know, you get all the whistles and all the buttons, and then you see a leather seat, and then you're just like, I can't do this. I can't buy this new car. It's not in my ethics. So it's an everyday life. It's in everything that you use, all the choices that you make, every little nook and cranny. I have a 6-year-old that he's been vegan for 4 years of his life, and you know, there's no question. There's no question. There's no question, oh, Mommy, can I eat this? He knows already. He would never even ask that question. So it's a part of my life. It's a part of the Save's life. It's everything that we do, everything, every aspect, even buying a mattress. I mean, just those little things are so involved that people never think about.
You're so right. People are just on automatic pilot, just kind of robotically, not thinking and not questioning. And so, right? When you start questioning, it becomes this sort of, it becomes like a ripple.
Absolutely.
You know, you take a look at everything where we're stealing from animals and we're exploiting them, and maybe there's absolutely a better way. So how about for you? How do you know, the message of compassion through veganism, and how do you connect that when you do these cubes of truth?
So with the cubes of truth, we connect the compassion of veganism through talking to people, telling them about what happens to animals, asking questions. We ask them several different types of questions. You know, we ask them, have you seen this before? All different types of questions we get involved with.
So you help them to connect the dots.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly what we do.
That their choices, that there's a victim.
Yes.
And a consequence for those.
Yes.
So what about your message, Mike, for people? I don't know if you actively sort of talk in that way, but...
We do.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, we don't mess around at all. The message when you come to, the sanctuary is totally about veganism. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we do that by showing victims of the industries, that we feed, that I personally used to feed into with my money and my choices every single day. And we show the victims to people. And I try not to preach. I try to give facts. I try to remember who I am and who I was and who I've been my whole life. Before I became a vegan, I was a vegetarian for 15 years, and then learned what we did to dairy animals, and I became a vegan, and it changed my whole life. And before then, I was just a regular guy, doing what everybody else does. And so, I'll be honest, that's our target demographic. It's nice when these guys come and visit the farm and all, it's great, to have some
But you're preaching
people,
to the choir there.
You are.
Yeah.
And so I want, and I reach like blue collar guys and stuff that most places don't, and that's my people. So bring me truck drivers and Harley Davidson guys and that stuff, and we teach them stuff.
They can relate
and then
to you.
See that you don't have to eat or harm an animal or whatever to be a man, because here I am living, right? So I haven't had a piece of meat in 24 years, right? So and so that's what we do. We try and teach people that way, and veganism is it. I mean, if everybody goes vegan, the rest of the stuff, we're done with activism. And that's the cool part about it. So as long as we, preach that that's the end game, is to stop all the exploitation of these animals, we all end up out of business, and then I'm happy.
And then new industries will pop up.
Absolutely.
Right?
They are right now. Beyond Meat was like $3.8 billion of stock sold in like 2 days or something.
Week,
I think 3.8 billion in 2 days or something. It's crazy.
There's a trend we can get behind.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it's happening every day.
And it's happening every day. Absolutely happening with thanks to all of you and the movement that is happening. So thank you. So you get to see, people every day by just being with the animals, and then you can talk about veganism so much easier because they see these beautiful innocent beings.
It makes a big connection. The animals make a huge connection. I mean, it's a little different. We don't usually end up making like like people who are interested in a plant-based diet for health. That doesn't come so much from the sanctuary. What comes is that emotional connection from meeting the animals and hearing their rescue stories, and then seeing that, thank goodness they were rescued, because here they are for us to meet. And that's it makes a real strong bond with people. It really does.
So what's been, perhaps, Michelle, for you, one of the most powerful parts of this for yourself personally, as well as, is there any small, powerful moment you can share where someone made sort of a shift or had a realization?
I mean, for me, my biggest point of my life was when I went to Canada. When I went to Canada, I bear witness, when I was there, we had a group of about 10 people that came out from New York. It's my little group, and we went out to Canada and bear witness, and the impact that I had changed my life forever. It changed my life, and it changed their lives, and they do more now. I do more. I started to save, all of that, and Anita Cryan started to save, and she, put me to the side one day, and she said, we have to do this in New Jersey, and I said, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. I just gotta find my right people, and thank God I found my right people, and I have cool organizers, and they help me out in so many ways, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for that. Yeah.
Beautiful. So Tom, what's some of the maybe criticism that you get with Anonymous for the Voiceless? Because it is pretty intense, and it's in some people's eyes it's radical. I mean, it's certainly less radical than what's happening to the animals themselves. Absolutely. But when you get criticism or you get people hating that, how do you, I know you respond with compassion, because our message is all about compassion,
course,
but tell us about that.
So, I mean, some of the criticism that we've gotten has been mainly about why do you guys wear masks? And like I said before, it's part of the demonstration. It takes the message, the messenger out of the message. But I just respond to them. I tell them how everything is, that the purpose of Anonymous for the Voiceless is to reach people. It's to reach people in so many ways, and so they can become awakened about what happens to animals. So I tell them that. I speak compassionately. Right. And most people are understanding to it when I hear that.
I mean, they're going to receive the message if they're open, or they might not. It's not about being attached to that particular outcome. It is about that window that opens up of possibility of planting those seeds, that it may take a while for those to germinate for people. But we don't want to underestimate how influential we can be when we come from that place of compassion. And we're having compassion for the humans too. We're
absolutely.
We were once wherever we were, and here we are. I mean,
one of the most amazing things is seeing people on the cubes. I mean, just seeing them open their hearts, and just seeing how be human.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I imagine, Mike, for you don't get a lot of criticism with what you do, but do you get a lot of?
Sometimes we do, but it comes from farmers.
Oh, so
mostly.
So you have to help. You help farmers to move past their
conditioning.
Sometimes we
or
their misconceptions.
I've had dairy farmers. I've had dairy farmers sit right on the farm with me and eat a vegan meatball sandwich. He didn't even know it. And but no, I'll tell you a quick story. We had a couple come a year and a half ago. An older man, 72, he said, his wife, and his wife was him, and his wife was 67, and he was a former farmer, and he had pigs and he had dairy cows. So he comes, he's got this old beat up hat with a dairy cow on it, and he comes, there's 30 or so people on that tour. He comes right up, and you can see his hands were all beat up from working in the farm. He was a real man, like a quintessential farm guy, and he comes up, he shakes my hand, he goes, I'm an animal guy too, in the beginning, and I don't think he knew what we were going to exactly talk about. So during the tour, I talked about one of our dairy girls, a young dairy calf that I had rescued, and she was thought to be blind. She had brain issues, and we were told to put her down, and we didn't. And it's a long story, but in the end, 6 months later, she was fine, and she's fantastic. She's one of the sweetest animals you ever met. And I tell the whole story. It's about 15 minutes long, and there's 30 people in the stall. And I hear someone breathing heavy. I look over, and it's the farmer, and he's got his head. He's leaning on that cow, and her name is Autumn, and he's crying. I mean, sobbing. And I went over, and for a man like that to cry in front of that many people is not normal, usually for us. And I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "I've been around animals my whole life, and I never saw one that way before, ever."
Wow.
He said, thank you. And he hugged me. He hugged me in front of everybody. It was crazy. It was one of the coolest things. It was one of the coolest ones. At the end, he didn't want to leave. He just hung out talking to us. He hasn't come back yet, but I hope he does.
Wow.
But they stayed.
That's a beautiful story and a
cool.
great example of what, certainly what's possible. And it goes against what people might think, that our movement is about closing the farms or that it's anti-farmer. And it's really not that at all. And farmers will say they love their animals, but they've just been so conditioned and they're so deep into their livelihood, being so hooked into it, they don't let themselves see it any other way.
If you actually talk to those farmers, instead of hearing second or third hand what they have to say, they will tell you things like, many places they don't make a huge amount of money, especially dairy farms right now, and they keep doing it. Their third, fourth generation, whatever it is, they do it because out of a sense of pride, like their family was doing it, so they keep doing it. And they also, some of them, feel that if they stop doing it, it'll just be huge farms and it'll be cold and impersonal, and they think they don't do it right. Not realizing ever that there's a side where you don't have to do this at all. And it's so funny. I mean, I've talked to so many farmers straight up when they hear the concept of you don't need to do this. Like, I haven't had a piece of meat in 20-something years, and they're like, get out of here. Like, they honestly, like it's not a thing.
Like, it's a foreign, but nobody's ever said that out loud.
Yeah, and we have to remember something. As passionate as we are about this, in the end, it will be farmers of some sort that feed us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So if we want them to stop doing what they're doing with animals, I think we have to encourage them to try different things and then reward them for doing the right thing financially and support them and say thanks. There was Elmhurst Dairy. It was like a 150-year-old dairy closed down, and now they're selling, I don't know how much milk is selling for, but I know that their almond milk is about $4 for a quart, and they're doing really well doing it.
We're going to need people to grow plants.
We need
We're going to need more plants as those industries disappear, hopefully, of course.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of work in terms of feeding us
7.4 billion humans on only ethics. Somebody needs to grow something.
An air. We're going to need people to, so they're going to have jobs, and we're going to need more of that. But I think, again, as we're looking at this on this grassroots level where it is right now, we don't know where it's going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Things could speed up really fast, really quickly, right away, because when we look at the civil rights movement and we look at the movement towards gay marriage, all of those things that it was happening, and then one day there was laws, and it started on that grassroots level. And everybody's born compassionate, so we want to speak to that inner compassionate being that is in every single baby when we're all born. So let's talk a bit more in terms of your organizations. We don't have too much time left. So Michelle, your organization again is the Save Movement.
Yes.
So what do you want to say to people who want to get involved in the Save Movement in terms of maybe volunteering or donating or getting involved? What do you need?
What we need is everyone, even if they're watching this show anywhere in the country, every Save Movement has a Save. And if they don't, start one.
Nice.
Start one up, do your research. Where are there local poultry places? Where are there slaughterhouses? And go out there, because there's trucks every single day. I drive my son to school every day. I see trucks on the side of the road with massive amounts of chickens. Cows are going in from Pennsylvania, flying down the road. So they're not getting seen. Those animals are not getting seen. They've never had that 2 minutes. They're invisible. So if there is a local group in your area and they don't have it, start one up. And it is the most easiest thing. You can go on savemovement.org and just start it up.
Very empowering.
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't have to wait.
No.
Get involved
just do
or
it.
Start your own. Just do
it.
So that's a lovely, wonderful message. And Tom, how about for you? What do you want to say about Anonymous with Voiceless Movement and Cubes of Truth that way?
Absolutely, same thing. There are right now almost 1,000 chapters across the entire globe.
Yeah.
All you have to
both
do is
the organizations, they're worldwide.
Yes, worldwide.
All you have to do is go to cubeoftruth.com. You sign up for your local chapter. They're always willing to have people. It's great. Some people go, and same thing. If there is no Cube of Truth in your area, you can start one. They make it so easy. All you got to do is they have a simple, easy process. You go to join.anonymouswithvoiceless.com. Send them an email saying I'm interested in starting a chapter. It's great. We always use more people, and it works out.
If you build it, they'll come.
Yes.
Yes, right. In the words of okay. Thank you. Wonderful. So people get involved. And how about for you, Mike? What do you want to say in terms of people? What would you ideally love for them to come visit you, for them to send some donations?
Yes.
I'm sure you need a lot.
If you're already a vegan, we
Go
need
vegan.
volunteers
Okay.
all the time. All the time. We
Right.
can use volunteers 7 days a week. If you're not a vegan, come on out, and I'll fix that for you.
You'll push the vegan button just on their shoulder.
Yeah, it's but come out and see the farm if you haven't been there. If you are an activist and you are out there on the front lines watching and doing and speaking up for, sometimes you need that connection with the animals too to recharge your batteries. So come on out and see us.
So you're there, you're available, the animals are waiting, welcoming. We're all part of that one community. We are one. So that's beautiful. So that is absolutely beautiful. So, I mean, I guess just, thank you again for all the work that you're doing in the world. Go vegan. Go vegan.
Yeah.
Go vegan. So until every cage is empty, until every sanctuary is full, and until every slaughterhouse is closed, until everyone brings forth that compassion, we're going to continue.
There's plenty to do. There's plenty to do.
Plenty of work.
Yeah. I mean, if you are a vegan already, sometimes you surround yourself with people, Facebook friends, whatever, that are all like-minded, and we end up in this little vegan bubble where everywhere we visit is a vegan restaurant and all that. But the reality is we're about this big right now, and so we have a lot we can't rest. You can't rest. And do whatever you're best at. That's the most important thing, I think. As such a minority out there, if we just fill spots with people, we're never going to gain ground. We have to do what we're best at,
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mike. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for being here. We're wrapping up another enlightening show. What causes are important to you? Find an organization that you can support or join a movement that is out to make the world a better place for all beings. Thank you, Monday Morning Flowers, for the beautiful floral arrangement. Thank you for watching. Check out michellegranberg.com, go vegan, and join me next time on Positive Energy.